and impulsively started a live stream for reasons unknown. Well, I mean, a lack of reasons, I guess. It's impulsive, is what's implied. I spent the morning watching some anime. There, I blew that away. I don't plan to stream for very long today. I'm working on improving good character. Hi, Daniel. Barry Sports Highlights. Happy Saturday to you. So, I'm not too much of a guru. If I were, I'd assuredly have my own mugity, more and mya. Which is to say, if I could be a guru, that would have to mean first and foremost, you gotta be all spiritually, yourself or something. I don't have that kind of spiritual within me. Rechurcha, Aramaic word for God, is rechurchy. Well, that's good to know, Cece. Rechurchy, I guess, what do you mean in Google? I mean, according to Google, the Aramaic word for God is rechurchy. That's good to know. Because I'm a little bit annoyed with myself right now in general. That's why I'm definitely not qualified to be a guru. Like, I have this strange pathological need to at least sometimes feel like I'm gonna get in trouble. Like I'm being avoidant of things I'm supposed to be dealing with. There's really only one thing that I'm being avoidant of at all, and that is my email right now. But I've got this completely all right. Aramaic word for God. I think it's rechurchy. That's what I think the Aramaic word for God is. Ilaha, Ila, 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 Ilaha. Are you saying that the Hawaiians got it right when they said aloha? I'm impressed with the Hawaiians, but they don't think aloha means God. So, nobody calls God Elah. There's not a single religion that calls God Elah. So, but I would give it to the Hawaiians, sure. Fortunately, I'm not very impressed by Aramaic anyway. Elah. That's just a bunch of pagan nonsense. If you're a paganist, maybe you believe in Elah. Good afternoon to Korek couple. Hi, Anthony is. Hi, Pomaha up Nebraska from Russia. Poma. My name's Eric. I'm from California, America. And I need to put some pants on. You know what I think you should do, sissy? Is you should Google the Sanskrit word for God. See what that says. Let's see what the Sanskrit word for God is. Right on, DK. I will say that. High Metarosi sound. I'm looking good. I'm feeling fine. And everything makes me shine, shine, shine. Now I put my pants on. Upgrade Titan Cinema Man, aka Titan TV Man. Hi. How's it going? Do I have children? I do have one child, a daughter. She's 25. She lives in Los Angeles. How about you? Do you have children? So let's go outside for a moment or two. Although I did want to Google the Sanskrit word for God. Let's see. Before I go outside, I'm going to quickly Google the Sanskrit word for God. I'm just curious. Bhagavan. Bhagavan any land. We're gathering one day in a van. Bhagavan any land. Are a couple different words for God. All right, now we're outside. The woodland friends, I think, would like some sunflower seeds. What do I think about Arab women's? I don't think anything about them one way or the other. I don't think about people in terms of their group level. I think of each individual as an individual and assume they can be a person rather than some other thing like the name of their religion or their whatever. All right, let's give the woodland friend some cutlets. So my own total lack of what you might call my period, not total, my occasional lack of what you might call ontological comfort. It's proof enough that I'm no guru. To be a guru, you first have to have your own shit in it, Why do I get all stressed out about, like, what's up with, like, general anxiety? I get this kind of generalized anxiety, like, somebody's gonna get me in trouble or something. And I must be doing something wrong and I'm gonna get in trouble. Or I still even have this thing. Rachel has it even worse than me, obviously, but like when Rachel gets up that she might get me in trouble. Get out of here, you. Here's a lizard, see. Go someplace not inside the garage. Oh, fine, go in the garage, see if I care. So, like, I feel sometimes when Rachel gets up, like, oh no, I'm gonna get in trouble. Like, what have you been doing, Eric? Have you been getting meow accomplished? Sorry about that. We're out of the sun now. Power break that side by side. Tell the neighbors, call the cops. Yes, we do live in the mountains. And we live not super high up, around 4,000 feet. We live near Yosemite. No, that's the thing. Ananova 5 is most notable. Neither, I do not feel like I need to walk on eggshells around Rachel. Okay, here. Alicia Markovivsiu? Markovicsiu? Markoviciu. Alicia Markoviciu. That's how you say it, I think. That was not a mouse, it was a lizard. Hi, Kennedy. Hi, Sean Willis. Yes, I said your name Kennedy a bunch of times already. So, hi, Art Yam, the Russian. I don't have any burger for you. So, as far as the eggshell things, I do not have to walk on eggshells around Rachel at all. And she also does not have to walk on eggshells around me, but I guess sometimes I just have this general sense of dread, anxiety, linking to the basic notion that somehow, some way, I'm doing something wrong, or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. You know? But I don't know what it is I'm supposed to be doing, or what it is I'm doing wrong, except just living my life like a regular guy. Somebody's burning down there. Where is that burning from? I could go drive down there and see, I guess, but I'm assuming it's a controlled burn. I mean, it's kind of got to be. Very unlikely that a fire would start right now. So, even though we don't have any reason to walk on eggshells around one another, we're just habituated to the idea of getting in trouble. About your magical thinking theory, how did you evolve to the position, or is it a matter of recognized truth? Well, I mean, the simplest answer to how I evolved to the position is I needed the efficacy, as indicated, to quit drinking. And then, I was fundamentally a rationalist before then. I began the behavior before I began any corresponding beliefs accordingly, and thus the distinction became clear to me. I mean, it's like a lot of things you'll hear, not a ton. There are only so many novel arguments that one might generate, but I'm responsible for a disproportionate number of them. I worked in the field my whole life, for one thing, right? Field of argumentation. Can I sing a song? Sure, I can sing a song. Yeah, I think we should go down there and and look and see about the little fire down there. How much money did I got in my wallet? Zero. I got $0 in my wallet. I don't usually carry any cash. Yeah, it's kind of past trauma. Always feeling like you're doing something wrong. Not really from my parents. I think more like from previous relationships than from my parents, probably. Yeah, we're more or less retired. And we do stay out here 24/7, more or less. Boobs and tits. I like your name. I sing a song. I could sing a song. We did get the Woody hoodies, yeah. Right here, see? Actually ended up with 4 of them somehow. I'm not sure how. I do plan to make a video about it at some point. The strange thing is, I don't feel as though I'm bored. I don't feel as though I'm at a loss for what to do exactly. I do feel as though I'm not spending my time very productively, but I also feel like I don't have a lot of extra energy to direct towards productivity anyway. Breaks aren't the way to go. I don't know what you mean by that. It depends how long you've been at something, right? Hi, Angel. Plants are looking good. How far is the grocery shop to us? Half an hour. Takes us half an hour to get to town. So, Rachel and I would not take a break from each other at all. No way. No way. That's zero chance of that happening, if that's what you're talking about. No. Rachel and I are doing great. We don't have any problems. And nothing about each other makes the other one have that walk on eggshell thing. It's a function of something else. Good time. Hello. Good afternoon. Well, I mean, so it's an hour round trip drive. Then the driving is an hour round trip, more or less, to get anything at all. There's no fast food in town except Subway. There's one Subway in town. So if we want to get anything like fast food, we got to go at least 45 minutes. And like yesterday, we had to take the cat to the vet. I couldn't find a vet to go to closer than an hour away. And the thing is, remember, it's not just an hour there, it's an hour back too. Hi, Ruben, are you back in San Antonio? Plus, when you get accustomed to just kind of chilling out here, I don't know. I'm, well, the kitty is at the veterinarian's and will be there till Monday. The reason being, he had an abscess. They wanted to put a stent in it, and And then I was gonna have to go get him, bring him back home, and then take him back there again to get it taken out, and then bring him back again. So I said, "Well, how much is it gonna cost to get him boarded from yesterday, Friday, through when they take it out on Monday?" And they said it was $130. So I said, "Let's do that." I need to get an AC unit for the other house. Good remembering, Anthony is. We should do that when we go back to Merced. So anyway, after we go to Merced, I'll pick up that. Maybe we can order that online even. We need to get an air conditioning unit for the other house. Okay, Cody, that's quite dramatic. Yes, I see that. Anyway, we will go back on Monday to get trouble from the veterinarian, and that way I don't have to deal with taking care of the stent in the interim days is the main thing. I don't really feel that comfortable about that. You think a bit like Peterson in terms of religion. I mean, I don't really know what his position on it is. Like I said, I don't establish a position that way. I know that I mean Jordan Peterson has a lot of problems intellectually. You know, he doesn't withstand scrutiny on many points, and you know he's not careful in the use of language. Bottom line, he's not nearly careful enough, and he's wrong about lots of things. So cat's gonna be fine. All right, we'll go check the fire in the yard. Okay, Cody, you're gonna get yourself timed out if you don't stop spamming the chat with your meows. For the moment, I'll remove another one. It's not a heart stent. It's a stent in where his abscess was, to make sure that fluid doesn't close. Basically, it keeps it open so that it drains until the antibiotics work adequately, that they don't need to do that anymore. You know? Well, Cody, that's very kind of you. All right, let's go drive down the hill. Fine. We'll go drive down the hill and we'll look at the fire and see what's going on down there. What I do know about Jordan Peterson is, for example, his strange anti-trans fixation. Like, I saw this, I don't know if it was a tweet or what from him, but it talked about some full-grown adults transgender surgery they got, and they spoke about that event as, he called it a crime. Like, you are so reckless in your use of language. That is not a crime. That's a doctor who consensually engaged in an agreed upon to provide agreed upon medical procedure for a consenting client. How could it possibly be a crime? It's like, shit like that makes me completely lose respect for the guy, right? It's like, how can you be so reckless with your language? Or his boogie boogeymaning of postmodernists. Like, this class of people that you are blaming for the fall of civilization does not exist. The man deems himself an evolutionary psychologist, which means basically he gets to make up whatever bullshit he wants. So at one time, this thing of his, some student asked, why is it that consumers are responsive to the color red in advertisements? His answer was ripe fruit. Back when we were hunter-gatherers, it benefited us to be able to spot ripe fruit. Except most ripe fruit is not red, and most ripe fruit that is red is poisonous. Like, what kind of idiocy has been adorned with this mantle of genius or goober or whatever, or darling of the intellectual right or whatever he's supposed to be? I don't know. He's not a bright man. He might be bright, but he's not correct, And correct's so much harder and more important than being smart. Anybody can be smart. What matters is, can you be correct? Well, it's over there somewhere. I don't know. There's a house over there. And here's the shed. Would you like to look inside of the shed? I'll show you. There it is. There's the shed. Look at all these fun things in the shed. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Fun, huh? Oh, Eric, thanks for showing us the shed. We love the shed. You must be a guru if you have a cool shed like that. That's my point, guys. You cannot tell whether or not somebody has guru status by looking at their shed. Alright, fine. So, we investigated the fire, and as I said before, it was just some people down there doing a prescribed burn. People burn a lot around here, You're supposed to keep your land free of easily combustible little sticks and stuff, but we don't do that, really. Me and Rachel don't. I don't do that, I should say. I'm sure I'll regret it when the fire comes and burns me up, but I don't want to hassle with all that shit, I'm lazy. And that's another thing that disqualifies me from being a guru. Gurus need to be all about goals and achievement, okay? Not being lazy. So, ergo, I am not a guru. Jordan Peterson is a guru. But you'll notice, anybody could be smart and a guru. How about try being correct? That's what I am instead of smart or a guru. I'm correct. You want a buggy like that? What's in the boxes? What boxes? More about being right than correct? What's the distinction you're drawing between the two? Unless you mean it politically, right? Or something. Well, that was exciting. We need Windex for the buggy. Oh, in the shed. A lot of different stuff is in those boxes. Like tool stuff, car stuff. Like there's one of the tubs in there has a bunch of old, probably useless at this point, like things of turtle wax and other car shit that you use to clean your car. There's a woodworking table in there. Underneath all this stuff that's on top of it, you can't really see it. But do I have a weed eater? I do have a weed eater, yeah. But I don't really want to weed eat. Y'all got Culvers in California? What are Culvers? Apparently not. Sounds like a name. Hi, Anna Nunzianti. Okay, not anyone can be smart, but the point is, being smart and $5 gets you a cup of coffee. Well, what's the difference between that and correct, Eric? Well, being correct and $5 gets other people a cup of coffee. The good thing about being correct is that although it's hard to get people to listen to you, if they do listen to you, they get to also be correct. All right, fine. True, not everyone can be smart. This isn't a panel thing. This is called Klaus It's non-alcoholic beer. Let's go fish. Are doctors incorrect when they tell a parent the baby is a boy or a girl? No, of course not. Anthony is, thank you for your kind donation. I'm not going to go fishing right now, though. Fishing is a big undertaking. That entails a lot. The thing is, even if I wanted to have a conversation with people, I agree with Goblin. It's not that it's not. I mean, I think that there are plenty of people who feel as though there's been an epistemological claim made about how and what we ought to know about the topic of gender that a lot of people disagree with fairly, I think, it is the case that most people probably won't have any direct experience with somebody's gender fluidity. With gender fluidity is a personal experience, right? Most people won't have that experience. And accordingly, my position is why would we talk about something to dealing with a population of people who already have little enough acceptance from the general population? But the answer is because of the politicization of it, right? So, and it's been politicized, I think, in the first part by this kind of, at times, oppressive woke agenda, right? But the thing is, that doesn't that doesn't what I always say is, it remains true. We need to always deal with every individual as an individual first. And so I am of the same mindset. What in the world is Jordan Peterson even caring about this subject for? Is he it's like what's his goal here? To delegitimize those people who do self-identify accordingly? Well, yeah. I mean, I think the reason they care is because they have made a connection between what they see as relativist politics, progressive relativism. They see a linkage between existing evolving trans realities and that particular agenda, which they see as linked to a lot of other bad stuff. And so it's just a tendency to for a lot of people, most people, to collapse onto one team or another. Well, it's not just bigotry, Goblin. That's not correct either. So the sports issue is a legitimate one. Obviously, people should have to compete in sports based on the number of their number of X chromosomes they have, and not on something else. And that's just fair, right? As far as the restroom thing goes, I mean, public restrooms are decreasingly common in general. The point is, plenty of people, though, who have strong opinions about this, they are the strength of their opinions vastly outweigh the possible threat to fairness that one can legitimately claim as a consideration, which means they're linking it to something else. Hi, Heather Pete. Fair enough, Putty Cat. Uh, I agree. Use the locker room of your chromosomes is only fair to everybody if there's going to be any gender segregation at all. Nobody's being hateful here, Putty Cat, and Goblin's not saying that people are being hateful here and now. Goblin is correctly pointing out that the whole discourse online about the subject is, by and large, unnecessarily hateful. And that is correct. Hi, Acacia. Acacia says, thanks for letting me stay there, no problem. Don't worry about it, Acacia, it's fine. I need to go over there, get the key. And then we're gonna need to get an air conditioner for there. I mean, there's plenty of hate from the other side too, Putty Cat. You know, it's true that there's been plenty of kind of radical politicization of trans trans as a thing that one can politicize on college campuses and stuff. But but it is not the case that people who are on the other side of the agenda are somehow pristine in their motivations en masse. The only thing I find confusing about you is that your belief without justification, your Christianity. Well, I mean, it's faith. It's an exercise of faith. You're saying you're kind of still saying the same thing you were saying yesterday, which is what I don't get is how you can call yourself a jogger when you're not sweating, and jogging makes people sweat. Well, it's because I'm not jogging right now. When you understand faith is a behavior called prayer that has its own logic. You might say, well, jogging is predicated on the idea that it's going to make you healthy. Not necessarily. There are many, many reasons why someone can jog. The thing is, I think we all kind of end up in moments where our rationalism fails us for one of a variety of reasons. It could simply be you're engaging in a deeply emotional moment with someone in your family or whatever, right? And in those moments, our rationalism fails us. There are some of us who have less conscious access to our subjective epistemics than others, because everybody has subjective and objective epistemics, and people either deliberate or know or interface with a given idea or a set of words or whatever in a variety of possible ways. Some contexts are appropriate for some kinds of attention. It's appropriate for me to use my interested calculus when making decisions about what kind of lamp I want to buy for my house. Why should I use some objective calculus? I could, in theory, try to get the best possible lamp by looking at reviews, doing some research, etc. You could call that an objective way to calculate the decision. Thank you, Ruben. So we already understand that there are plenty of circumstances in which we ought to use a non-objective calculus, whether it's who do I want to hang out with today? Well, I want to hang out with the friend that I like better. Nobody is suggesting that you should use an objective calculus to determine who you want to hang out with. Oh, I want to hang out with the person with whom hanging out will do me the most good, or something like that, some kind of concrete impact calculus. You wouldn't think that that's necessarily a preferable way to deal with that kind of circumstance, right? So I think the issue here is that there's an idea that everything has to validate ultimately under a rationalist frame of reference. And when I talk about my faith being what it is, what I'm saying is that when I'm engaged in that behavior of prayer, which is a faith-based behavior, then I'm not engaging in rationalism. And I oughtn't be, because that's not the purpose of that behavior. It's not the nature of that behavior. It would be a category error to critique it as such. They'll come outside like I smoke cigarettes, but I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I have a cousin that I think a lot of, he became gay in his early 20s. He was straight prior to that. But isn't faith in action? Should we not ask if it was, say, a function like, say, breathing? I would see why it is a behavior. It only seems that you're bracketing your position to me. Well, I mean, the thing is, my if you ask what my position is on, say, the existence of God, normally I would answer the question by saying, I self-identify as a Christian, make of that what you wish. If you were to press me to establish a position on the existence of God, I would say, well, are you asking me to debate the point about whether or not God exists? In which case, I can take either app or neg. It doesn't matter to me. I can debate either equally well, which is to say, as well as can be debated, although fundamentally poorly, because it's predicated on the idea that we should debate this issue according to the terms of rationalism, even though it's a magical thinking frame, right? So if you're asking me what my position on something is, I would say, for the purpose of what conversation? Right? Because I don't have a position on it, because nothing's predicated on me having a position on it. If you're asking me what other statements or affirmations do I have that I would publicly make that are predicated on my faith, I would say none. Obviously, why would I ever state a position that requires faith to validate it? One couldn't possibly affirm such a thing. To affirm such a thing means to provide legitimate justifications for it. So I think the takeaway here is that you keep trying to force me to have positions that are consistent with my faith. But I don't have positions, consistent or inconsistent, on questions related to that, because it's not necessary to answer any of those questions in order to, as justifications for any other arguments I'm making. Right? Since I'm not saying meow 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 because God, then why would I need to affirm or negate any of those statements? If in fact I were predicating other positions or other claims upon the existence of God, then I'd need to establish that, right? And I need to affirm that. But none of my arguments are predicated on a cosmology that involves God, because of course that would be, first of all, you'd be guilty of double binding yourself. God obviously can't be subsumed by human argumentation if the term is to mean anything at all. What do you think was made the first crime? Probably murder, I would guess. Murder or theft. Rachel's in bed still. Maybe theft. It's all crimes are basically the same. They're all rights violations. They're all some form of violating your property rights. Hi, Jess Colonel. You think it was traffic tickets? Pretty sure that wasn't the first crime. Traffic tickets aren't even crimes, they're infractions. No, I mean that's the truth about traffic tickets, though, is they are infractions, not crimes. And that's why you're not guilty of a misdemeanor when you get a traffic ticket. The reason they're not crimes also is because, and the reason they have to be infractions is because to get a traffic ticket, you do not have to have intentionality or knowledge of the fact that you're committing a crime or intending to commit it. Normally, the general rule is this, and it applies almost always. If you can incur liability either from willful ill intent, which is criminal, or accidental incurrence of liability, which is civil. So the thing about tickets is because you have strict liability on it, which is to say you're liable for breaking the rule regardless of whether you were aware you broke it or were trying to break it. Right. Well, all right. If you say I believe in God, but not because of anything, then how do you evolve to it? Well, the thing is, I generally don't say I believe in God. I say I self-identify as a Christian, and I point out that I pray to God and Jesus and the Holy Ghost periodically. There's my point is you're making a mistake to uh, to people don't understand what belief is in general. People think that belief is something that you have, right? I have a belief. That's not the way it works. What we typically call people's beliefs are things they consistently affirm. So this is where the distinction lies, right? The reason I don't consistently affirm statements about God is because I'm not believing that right now. See what I'm saying? People misunderstand the nature of epistemics, wildly misunderstand it. It doesn't work like the way they think they do. People who are attached to consistently affirming certain kinds of statements call that having a belief. But really, you can have intention, you can affirm, you can negate, you can do those things consistently. You can proclaim that math functions as a framework so that others can anticipate decisions I make cascading down therefrom, etc. That's how people really use language. But people don't say words that reflect that they understand how people use language. So that's the problem. Isn't the belief a reference of reality? It's not from you, it's from in an action, recognizing that's why it leaves you without a backbone. I mean, the thing is, I'm not without a backbone, right? I can point to specific concrete impacts of great significance that resulted from my engagement as a Christian. I get to have it all. So I was able to quit drinking after decades. Why? Well, in part, and maybe in large part, because of my faith. But what you want is for that faith to generalize out. It's not going to do that. If it did that, then instead of being real exercise of faith on my part, it would be an abdication of rationality. And God doesn't want that. Nobody wants that, right? I'm not I'm not intellectually small enough to be constrained in that fashion. Nor should I be. There's no benefit to being intellectually constrained like that. There are matters that require a rationalist calculus, and never in any instance when I'm communicating to another person should I justify anything I'm saying with stuff that doesn't objectively validate, or they can't be objectively validated by others. So it's never acceptable to use God or faith stuff to justify anything. However, it's perfectly acceptable for it to be the source of your backbone and your spine and your person. That's the truth about it, whether anybody wants to acknowledge that or not. So how do you use this language on life? Well, I mean, everybody uses it the same, which is people, but people don't normally acknowledge that when they say things like, here's what I'm attempting to do with my words right now. I am attempting to explain something to you / educate you. And specifically in this instance, I'm trying to explain how meow works and why meow is or is not status meow. Okay. So here's a list of the various ways and stuff that people use language. The problem is because language is objectively parsable. In other words, it's objective data that we can all look at and parse independently, okay? Because of that, people have the idea that somehow we'll be better off if we remove the individual from the language equation. And that can be the case when we're evaluating words themselves. We don't want to critique the person, we want to critique their words, right? But what we ought to remember is that every time anybody's using words, they're trying to do something. They are not, and we extract ourselves from that equation at the loss of actual meaning. Here are some of the things that people try to do when they're using words. A lot of people will try to say, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just telling the truth. Well, okay. But the point is, let's not be disingenuous. We can both be telling the truth and acknowledge that we're still trying to do something. There's always an illocutionary frame, which is to say, a frame behind the words. I mean, whose self are you dooming, Lay Ray? Well, I don't understand even what you mean if one can't get to two. No, reality is not justified by others. Or I mean, look, reality is a, like right now, our reality is a communicative one. It's one based in almost entirely on words and back and forth conveyance of meaning. When we're dealing with a reality like this, we are dealing with a turn-based reality, which is to say, these words mean the same things, whether I'm saying them faster or slower. There's no real-time component to that, or a limited real-time component to that, because of the nature of the words I'm saying and the nature of the information I'm conveying, okay? If you want these words to validate for not just yourself, but for others, then they need to make sense and validate objectively, which is to say other people can evaluate them and find that indeed that does make sense. That is an explanation that explains things, for example. The key thing to remember is that we have multiple angles of validation because we have multiple ways of prioritizing different kinds of values. So if I'm valuing objective knowledge, which is to say knowing something for what it is, not for how it links to me, then I'm going to prioritize a certain kind of language that is exemplary of that valuing priority, right? Whereas, let's say I prioritize stuff that's deliberatively parsable, like the kind of words I'm saying now. If you go back and reread this transcript, everything I'm saying makes sense. I'm drawing distinctions between kinds of things, and I'm explicating how certain kinds of words, because speaking is a behavior too, certain kind of words express and are validated against certain kinds of values and criteria. The values and criteria link, of course, depending on the kind of value, you have a different kind of criteria. So, like, I could evaluate the question of whether I should stop jogging by gauging how tired I am. Can I jog a little bit more, or am I panting so much that I just need to stop and rest now? I'd be evaluating the decision I'm making entirely on subjective data, data that only I have access to. I mean, others might be able to see me panting more or less, but they don't know whether that's the max, whether I'm at my limit or not. Okay. Only I can make that decision correctly because only I have access to the data. That's what we call subjective data. In contrast, we might say, or maybe I'm saying, here's a policy we should take in our town. We should cut down all the trees along Main Street because they might drop branches and damage people's cars. Now, if I'm going to convince anybody of that, or if anybody wants to evaluate those respective examples distinctly, then we'll have to say, all right, then give me a reason why we should do this. And then if I said my reason was because I don't like the way that the leaves from those trees blow onto my front lawn. Well, then probably the city would say, well, that's not a good enough reason, right? You're the only one who's suffering that problem. We can come up with another solution. Maybe we'll contribute to your gardener costs or something. However, if the guy says, well, because it might damage people's cars and might put the city at liability, then all of a sudden maybe he's going to be listened to a little bit more. This could cost us so much money if this potentially bad thing happens, right? Well, the point is, Ray, you keep using like this kind of passive voice stuff. Therefore, it's all descriptive. Remember, talk about it like this. Right now, I am using these words to do what? You can use them to describe yourself, if that's what you're doing, right? But then that's not necessarily informative about reality. I have mixed opinions on the vertical. I do get your point on to why it sucks. What are we talking about again? Well, in this instance, what I'm talking about is Ray is having a little bit of a he's not sold on the I don't, this may be a reductive way to put it, but the simplest way to put it might be this. He either thinks I'm not a real Christian or I'm not a real rationalist. One of the two. I'm not sure. He sees them as incompatible. I'm trying to explain the reason they're not incompatible is because we use different modalities epistemologically than we do for different circumstances, right? Like if I'm just as if I want to if I want some props for a play, I might get some books from the library on chemistry. But if I want to learn something about chemistry, I'll just Google it. Both things are modalities to learn about chemistry, a book and Googling. One's actually a good way to learn about chemistry. One is excellent for being a prop on a play, right? I just think you're wrong is all not being assertive anyway. I don't even know what that means. Take a hit of some crack. I don't have any crack. I look like Bruce Willis. First time I've ever heard that. I don't think you dislike me, Ray. I don't think that you. I think that you're still trying to figure out what to make of this position that seems, at least at first glance, to be contradictory or somehow weaseling out of a core decision that needs to be made. And I'm saying, no, that's not correct. I think because Leroy expects, probably additionally would like it to be the case, but I don't know about that part, but it expects that a person of faith is going to have a lot of other positions and stuff predicated upon that faith. I don't have such other positions and such predicated upon the faith, because I understand that we ought to, just as we ought to keep our porn and our YouTube separate, so too ought we keep our jogging separate from our schoolwork, right? Don't try to do your homework while you're jogging, and don't try to jog while you're doing your homework. Equivalently, Larry is probably only encountered before people who insist that they're going to, that they are right, not just in their choice of behavior and in their choice of faith for their own reasons. They are right in their choice of faith and therefore should win the argument about it. Well, I mean, that's silly. That is in and of itself an affront to faith, because faith is defined as belief in the absence of evidence or in the face of contrary evidence. And it's also an affront to God to presume that he could be subsumed by argumentation. So, boo for them. Atheists don't like it when Christians are not dumb like that, because they want to win the argument about faith. But my point is, they shouldn't be arguing about it either. Well, I'm glad you're interested in hearing and asking questions and meowing, because that's better than I was at 21. Sure. I was no doubt very pig-headed. Decisions bring risks. Most can't accept the outcomes. I mean, everybody has to accept all the outcomes, whether they want to or not, right? Whether those are outcomes deriving from specific decisions or from lack of decision. So the thing is, my point though is, while I'm correct, I am not a guru. I am not telling anybody else they should have my relationship with faith. You will never hear me proselytizing, evangelizing, or otherwise. I just am honest in answering the questions when people ask me about my religion or whatever. Hi, goddess of the cosmos. Oh, there's God. She's actually goddess, and she's of the cosmos. Birds scare you? Okay, good for you. I do look a lot like Shaq. It's because I'm always putting on icy hot. All right, we'll put on the A's game in the background. All right, good job, Athletics. The Athletics are up 3-2 right now against the horrible and hated Atlanta Braves. I hate them so much. The Atlanta Braves are terrible. My testimony makes others question their relationship with faith. I mean, I'm not even telling others what they should do with faith. I have no opinion on their relationship with faith. How could I make them question their relationship with faith? My whole point is that I have my relationship with faith and I manage it in such a way that it doesn't run afoul of me being correct. That's basically what happened is I became a Christian to quit drinking. But I did not want to and was not willing to sacrifice being correct in the long haul. So I had to figure out how to be correct still. I agree with the idea that when you speak, there's only words coming out of your mouth, but everything else is imagination and emotion. Well, I mean, there are the words you said and the specific meaning that they have. Those are the things that matter. It's not higher or lower. It's things that matter, which is say things you can do something with intellectually, and things that don't matter, things that are irrelevant to making any kind of particular point. Now, in life, there are plenty of communication events that are all about emotion and should be all about emotion. And there are other communicative events that are entirely not about emotion, but are instead about explaining things like I'm doing right now. And to the extent that emotion gets into those matters, usually it causes a problem because people will say, okay, Eric, you're being too emotional, and they'll be less able to hear what I'm actually, the words I'm saying. The words I'm saying would be the same regardless of how much emotion I'm feeling. But people are better able to hear them when you don't sound upset or whatever. When you sound calm, even keeled. Well, the point, Goblin, is people can believe in what they want, and people are responsible to not do harm to others. Their belief doesn't cause them to harm people or not. They may blame their belief. A belief may correlate with harmful actions sometimes or harmful behaviors, but like they're like think about it this way. There there's so much spite. Yeah, good job. 3-run home run. Athletics. Woo! Good job, Andrew Har. See you later. 6'2 athletics. No, this is not alcohol. This is non-alcoholic beer. Okay? It has no alcohol in it. I don't drink alcohol. So anyway, what was I saying before I got distracted? Oh, right. People just need to be responsible for not being hurtful to others, whether it's for whatever cause. Like if it's just because you're a dick and you say something mean, or if it's indicative, if it stems from some belief, or if you have some belief that links to your, that sort of justifies your meanness, all that doesn't matter, right? The belief part's irrelevant. The thing that matters is, yeah, you have an obligation to try to sin no more, which is to say to try to be kind to people, not being mean and not violate anybody's rights and all that kind of stuff. Hi, Nice 66. Things go pretty well. What I've determined in regards to the question is no, I'm not a guru, but I am somebody who is correct and tells people that. Which, can cause people to be like, no, you're not correct. Who are you? You're just some guy. You think you're all right about everything. What are you, the gauge of all knowing? Well, no, I'm not the gauge of all knowing, but kind of. But kind of I am. In some of it, Trommel, that's true. And some brands do have less than 0.5%. This is one such brand. I also have 0.0 in there. I don't really care either way. It's got little enough alcohol in it for me that it counts as not alcohol. I never felt any kind of buzz no matter how much non-alcoholic beer I've drank, so I'm not worried about it. What is the clinical definition of goober? Um, I don't know. I don't know. Have you tried alcohol-free wines? No. I have tried alcohol-free liquor in a mocktail at a restaurant on a couple of occasions, but I've never gotten it myself. So, I do drink non-alcoholic beer, but and it does potentially have a tiny bit of alcohol in it, but it's not enough to get you loaded or anything. So it's good enough for me. It's pretty nice to cook with. I cook with alcohol. I have a bottle of Chianti over there that I cook with. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I get Heineken 0.0, then it's 0.0. But, and there are other ones that not all of them have less than 0.05 or zero point 0.5 or whatever. I don't need a tissue. Thank you, though. Heineken is German. Heineken Zero is very good. And it used to be the German beer before Heineken, Lowenbrau. That you rarely, if ever, see Lowenbrau anymore, do you? When's the last time you've seen a liquor store selling Lowenbrau? Used to be back in the day. It was like Lowenbrau was the number one German beer. Yeah, Lowenbrau. Can I give Kylie Valdez a shout out? Kylie Valdez, you're the best around. Nothing's ever going to bring you down, Kylie Valdez. Oh, it means lion brew? What was what? What was that, bong rip? That was a bong rip. You're welcome, Aussie Dog. May Kylie Valdez and all of her days be filled with joy. And then Kylie Valdez went on to set the world on fire with her talent and skills. Hello, young buck, Mr. OK. sounds like a gas burner, is a propane torch. It's for making fires. No, I'm not Jewish. How about you, Sarah Jane? I am, as I've been discussing with various parties, a Christian. Why sorry? What do you have to be sorry about? Uh-oh. Catch it. Good job. Eggplant okay. Is my eggplant okay? My eggplant's fine. Thank you for asking. It's chilling in my pants. You know. What do you do with a gas burner in the living room? You mean a propane torch? I use it to pull bong rips. What else would one do with a propane torch? Plumbing? If you not only say but understand reality to be different, then you are implying, not word-wise, but that just like implies one, it can't be helped, and this doesn't work if I say, why are you drinking water? Because it's self-evident why you do it. Well, but it's not self-evident why I'm drinking water instead of something else. There's a mistaken belief that that I have to have a consistent underlying cosmology regardless of what behavior I'm engaged in. But that's not the case. The thing is, I understand as an atheist, you don't you're having difficulty grasping the idea of exercising faith for some stretch of time and not having it be a cosmological underpinning of everything. But I used to not be a Christian, and so I used to think that too. But well, I mean, the conclusion is that both atheists and Christians alike, don't want me to be a Christian. They don't want me to be a real Christian, but I am. The atheists don't like it because they say, Eric, instead of providing a genuine solution to the apparent incompatibility of a rationalist and a religious person, you've proven they're not incompatible, have transcended that dichotomy, and have provided an answer and an explanation that I have no good rebuttal for. And so as a consequence, I just keep saying this same thing, which is but if you not only say but understand reality to be different, then you are implying, not word-wise, but just like two implies one can't be helped, but this doesn't work if I say, why are you drinking water? Okay, well, I'm not sure what all that means, but the point is, I'm not just making a verbal difference. I'm pointing out that different contexts, one applies different kinds of calculi towards. One can exercise different kinds of action or interface style. I can solve a problem by trying to figure out the mechanisms of this system, how it works and how to fix it, or I could try to solve a problem by talking to other people and figuring out who knows best how to solve this problem and getting them to help. Those are two different ways of interfacing with the same problem. Because it's self-evident why I drink water, only in the sense that people have to drink water. Well, if you want a justification like that, you could say, I want an answer to cosmological questions that can't be answered rationally. How about that? We can't come up with, there's no rational justification for preferring any particular moral indication, positive moral indication over any other. There are infinite possible nice things we might do. Which ought we do and which ought we decide not to do? Those kind of questions cannot be answered rationally because they link too strongly with the particular. I believe in a higher power creator. I don't believe the evolution theory, and I don't believe humans were created by atoms smashing together. Well, I also don't believe in evolution, but it is not because of any faith-based justification. It's simply because evolution fails to make its case adequately. The cat is at the vet. So here's the deal with the cat. Quick review. I've explained it a few times, so I'll go over it quickly. Took him to the vet. He had an abscess in his leg. He got it drained. He had a stent in the leg. I could have gone and picked him up today and then go back on Monday to get it taken out and come back again. Instead, I am having him boarded through till Monday at the vet. I'll pick him up on Monday and bring him home. And then he won't have a stint that I have to worry about. And I won't have to go back there again, Nag purr may cross 60 degrees centigrade this month. How hot is that? $140? You can't even survive outside at 140, right? What's the hottest outside daytime temperature a person can survive? The upper limit's at 122 degrees. You should not go outside over 122 degrees. It says here on Quora, though, generally sustained temperatures above 140 can be fatal to human. However, the exact temperature varies from individual to individual. So you can go higher than that, in fact. For short periods of time. You can go as high as like 200 degrees, is provided like you're in a sauna or something and everything's wood. You could maybe go like as high as 190, something like that, with the wet, according to this answer. So I'm not exactly sure what the highest temperature you could survive is, but I wouldn't go outside for very long. At 140, that's for sure. Skibidi climate change. I mean, maybe it is skibidi climate change. If it's 190 degrees or hotter, if you leave cookies in your car, they will bake themselves. Wow. it is currently 88 degrees here, 88 degrees Fahrenheit, which is still pretty hot, but not nearly as hot as where Bali Music King is. That must be horrible. Do you just stay inside all the time? Do you have any do you have any air conditioning? I wonder if like I remember it got very hot in LA one time, and some of the plants in the yard just couldn't take the heat. Even if you kept them watered, it didn't matter. Even though they had been there a long time, and like the outside parts of them at least died from just it being too hot. I don't think the plants themselves died, but these are plants that had lived for a long ass time in LA where it gets very hot and nevertheless couldn't handle that heat. So I wonder like if you've got a bunch of plants that may, even though they're accustomed to, they're native to that area which is very hot. If it, you might still reach like heats that the plants can't even handle, you know? Yeah, well, obviously, the correct response to climate change is adaptation, not mitigation. The idea that we should stop putting carbon in the atmosphere or limit it in some fashion is equivalent to when human civilization started running afoul of its own sewage and somebody said, here's a solution. Let's tell people to poop and pee less. It's ridiculous. It's minus 353 degrees Fahrenheit on Neptune, so be glad you're not on Neptune. No, Goblin, that's idiotic. That's definitely not the solution, okay? There is no solution that involves gutting the engine of our prosperity and ingenuity. Obviously, we need to move forward into solutions with things like sequestration and adaptation to a changing world, and not try to get all authoritarian on everybody. Capitalism is just the absence of use of force that would otherwise prevent people from engaging in consensual commerce with one another to mutual benefit. So, if you want your authoritarian hellscape and you want your socialist secret police and so forth, well, you can have it, but keep that bullshit away from me. And remember, there's no good way to force everybody to share. Well, that's the thing. Ray, I almost never drink water. Well, I don't know what your alternative to capitalism is, but it's necessarily going to involve pointing guns at people and telling them stop engaging in business if you're going to make that happen, right? Stop engaging in your consensual business. No, there's look, the bottom line, Goblin, there's no way to stop other people from engaging in their consensual business without use of force, justified by your ideologies. It always plays out the same way. Well, that's another reason why it's a terrible idea to try to engage in this limiting, because to the extent that the United States was to reduce its carbon emissions unilaterally, the gap in production would simply be made up by more dirty producers and brick companies: Brazil, Russia, India, China. So it's ill advised on every level. Maybe people will realize, I mean, look, we're all here, right? And one of us is entirely correct, even. And yet, not a single two people here are entirely in agreement about anything. And here has the unique benefit of one person being entirely correct. And it still doesn't, we still can't reach any agreement, right? Namely, I am entirely correct. Nobody has time to care. It's the truth. No, look, when people talk about sequestering carbon from the atmosphere, that is not getting rid of you. That is changing the composition of the atmosphere. Is it a good idea to get rid of carbon from the atmosphere? Specifically, carbon 14, I think it is. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But the point is, carbon sequestration is a much different order of business than carbon elimination, like before it gets produced. Yeah, I agree. Carbon is, but our 99% people see USSR as brothers. Well, good for your 99% people. Good morning, darling. I don't know if they capture excessive carbon these days or not. I doubt it. The point is, it's not carbon, right? It's specifically carbon dioxide. Okay, it's not like piles of carbon. What they're specifically concerned about is a change in atmospheric composition to move from a less heavy weighting of greenhouse gases, so-called greenhouse gases, to a more heavy weighting of such gases. Okay, let's not misrepresent it. There are many reasons why we shouldn't engage in many or most of the current climate change policies. That is not the same thing as saying that that discussing whether we ought to mess around with atmospheric composition is a bad idea. It's possible we should sequester carbon from the atmosphere. I don't really know whether we should or not. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of it. The point is, it's been difficult for anybody to discuss the topic meaningfully because everybody's got it so politicized. What do I think about cannabis? I don't really think anything about it. I think, oh, there's some cannabis. Look at you, cannabis. Whatever shall you do? Lord have mercy on my soul. Is that some cannabis? I mean, I've spent too much time trying to explain things to mostly the people who don't want to who don't want their understanding to change from what it already is. Or they just, people are resistant to intellectual change. I might think it's better to be more correct, but there's no reason to believe for any given individual that it's better to be more correct. More correct's kind of just more correct. It's not normatively good or bad. Okay, well, good for you, Bolly Music King. Do I think the stock market is out of control? No. I mean, do I think it's inflated the value of it? No. I think I think there's still more room for growth in the stock market. I'm I feel much less certain about what's the deal with crypto. It's hard to do anything in a low vibration state or being distracted by noise. That's true. So the people flying in private jets have bigger carbon footprint than anyone driving around daily with a combustion engine. It's such hypocrisy. I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, the, for some such individuals, it's hypocrisy because they might be advocating strongly in favor of meow or meow. For others, for plenty of us, we fly, and I'm not being hypocritical. There's underlying this whole issue is a basic fallacy that says because I can identify a big problem, we should necessarily do something about it. It is not the case that anytime anybody can articulate a real problem, that we should do something about it. You have to check inherency, first of all. Wow. Good job, Rooker. 7-3 A's. Hi, King. Inherency says, will the problem solve itself? Uh, what 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 obstacles are there in the status quo to solving the problem? Host Eric, are you going to become the Joker? No, I'm not. Skibbity says, Katie Ganser, old man, what did you eat today? I had the rest of Rachel's unfinished Five Guys hamburger, cheeseburger. China's a problem as well. So do you think carbon taxes will save the planet? No, I think carbon taxes are a horrible idea. I think all mitigative attempts are horrible. Just as if we have a sewage problem, the solution isn't to tell people to poop and pee less. So too is our carbon problem not solved by telling people to make less carbon. Instead, the problem could be solved potentially by doing a better job of removing carbon from the atmosphere once it's already been released into the atmosphere, or one might do a better job of adapting to a changing global climate. But this is clearly well past the tipping point in terms of what could possibly be accomplished by attempting to reduce emissions now. We're going to have a different solution in mind to that, or allow for the fact that the solution may end up being a black swan, which is to say, some new technology renders the problem solved that we can't anticipate that technology now, or some unrelated thing renders the problem moot, such as something like a huge volcanic eruption that plunges the Earth into a brief mini ice age or something, right? There are a lot of unforeseen there's a lot of unforeseen time between now and some presumably catastrophic impacts of climate change. And frankly, climate change is not an existentially threatening event. The impact of it, while massive, potentially existentially threatening to many species, is not going to make it so that no humans survive on Earth. It's less of a threat to human existence than, say, global nuclear war, or an asteroid striking the planet, or even um, a major sunstorm. If we had a major solar event that it would fry all of our electronics, send the whole planet into darkness, How crazy would that be if the whole planet, all of our circuit boards, everything like that, all fried in one big solar storm? How long do you think it would take to get everything back online? That's a very realistic possibility. George Floyd was murdered, yes. And his killer should have been convicted of murder. Uh, I don't approve of the I don't approve of riots of any sort, really. I'm not a big fan of protests and stuff. If people are going to protest, they need to be protesting the right kind of things. However, I will credit BLM with making a real difference in the reduction of police violence, even though I don't like the fact that they made it about race. Police violence, police brutality, excessive force, militarization of the police was a massive problem in the country and is substantially less so now thanks to BLM. I still don't like the fact they made it about race. As far as January 6th stuff, I don't have a strong opinion about it, frankly. It's like, it's just it's a highly partisan clusterfuck of a meow. So Mr. Canada sucks. Makes a good, That's a good thing. He says crypto will collapse. Bitcoin might survive. What do you think? So the main thing I think about crypto is that number one, most people who don't think it's going to, be sustainably worth anything, I think they don't. I think they don't understand the various ways in which different kinds of tokens operate generally. But my concern is that crypto won't survive the sunstorm doomsday scenario I was just articulating, where you have a large sunstorm that fries all the electronics across the planet, including your hard drives, your crypto wallet, etc. How do you feel about Hamas pushing homosexuals out of building windows in Palestine? Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely horrible. It's like, ISIS does that shit too. I think there is a lot to critique about the so-called moderate Muslim world as it expresses in the status quo. A lot of stuff that runs counter to a free and civil society. But the point is, most importantly, what I'm not here to do is to create a boogeyman, to figure out who to blame and to hate and to dislike and to point the finger at, because that's the problem. That's the number one problem right now is this. Everybody wants to play who's to blame. Accordingly, the capacity of a citizen democracy to effectively function becomes woefully undermined, you know? But I don't really feel like talking a whole lot of politics. I am going to be running for president in the next election cycle. And when I do, I'll start talking about politics a lot more. But it's a very controversial topic in general. I'll fix things, Goblin, when I'm president. I'll fix things as best I can. All right, at least I'll change the way people talk about stuff a little bit, which will help. Okay, can we not, please? I do not want to direct my attention, this stream's attention, or any other of my resources towards the question of Israel, Palestine, Middle East, Islam, uh, international politics, domestic politics, etc. Let's talk about something more pleasant, like the fact that the Oakland Athletics are up 8-3 currently against the hated Atlanta Braves. If you want to hate somebody, hate the Atlanta Braves. I think we can all get down on that. Who doesn't hate the Braves? Sure, chillin', no problem. Well, not yet. Okay, they're the Oakland Athletics for the rest of this year, and then next year they're going to be the Sacramento Athletics. Hello, Anas Almas. Thank you for your love from Iraq. Welcome to California, America. I hope you enjoy your time here with me today. But here's the bottom line. Most people all over the world of all different shapes and sizes and kinds get along fine when they're actually dealing with one another in person. It's just on the internet where everybody gets all fighty and fussy. It's not actually beer. It's non-alcoholic beer. It's called Klaus Holler. You're on your fourth beer and it's 12 a.m. Wow, that's not too bad. Internet Rambo should be a diagnosis in the DSM, and that's fine. I'm not a boomer, Sir Jane. I'm Generation X. Thanks for forgetting about us again. I mean, I do care a great deal, Sarah Jane. I wish I didn't. That's why I'm going to run for president in 4 years to solve these kind of problems. You know, I wish I didn't care so I could just slack off and enjoy my inherited privilege, but because I care, I'm going to run for president. And my first order of business will say, look, I get it. You're mad. I'm mad too. It takes all of my power to be as non-divisive as I am. Could you please be a little bit more helpful in this goal here rather than and then finding additional things like generation to be divisive about. How about that? Oh, I get it. I wasn't being divisive enough with my politics before. Now I'll be divisive on age. Okay, what else do you want to be divisive on, Sarah Jane? How about the fact that I don't have an obvious disability? So, or what else? What else do you want to be divisive about? Because I'm just entitled. I never worked a day in my life. I worked for many years, very much. Hey, Paul Denaw. Paul Denaw. Only white people put their bare feet on the dashboards in cars. Really? I don't. Yeah, I might do that. If I were driving, if I were riding in the passenger seat, I might do that. Except I have, of course, flip-flops. So not only am I Generation X, Sarah Jane, but it's also the case that my wife is a millennial. And my daughter is Gen Z. Slacker. Okay, maybe I'm a slacker. I am just so happy to finally be able to do a little slacking. It is wonderful to slack. I'm not offended. Yeah, I feel you, Sarah Jane. I wasn't able to make it either. My parents bought their house for $37,000. By the time I was out of college, real earnings like were, not remotely keeping pace of say housing prices. By the time I got out of college, houses were in that neighborhood were almost $500,000, and there's no way I was going to be able to buy a house there. Like, earnings have not kept pace, obviously, with cost of living remotely, and that's called inflation. Anas Almas says, here's to the cause of and solution to all of life's problems, alcohol. That's a Homer Simpson quote. Did I go to Humboldt? No, but I did go to Santa Cruz. Snoop Dogg is Gen X. As is, my daughter's 25, Daniel, so you and she are close in age. Delilah was born in 1998. Everything is so fucked. You're not wrong, Sarah Jane. You are not wrong. You're 33. Rachel's 39. I'm 53. I'm 20 years older than you. Well, Goblin, make sure you have it on live chat instead of top chat. If it's on top chat, you won't get everything is so fucked, for example. It does feel that way. Like, I don't know what to make of the fact that things are so expensive, Well, when I named her Delilah in 1998, that song had not been released yet. So I can't be held accountable for that. But I like that song, but I probably wouldn't name a child Delilah now, knowing that everybody who meets her is Delilah. What's it like in New York City? But she's a good girl. I like her a lot. I'd like to talk to her on the phone. Maybe Rachel will call her and she'll let me talk to her on stream for a minute or two. That would be nice. Any of you have any questions for Delilah? Hi, Ing Sammy. Man, I hate the top messaging show. I change it every time, I know. It is a biblical name, true, but we named her actually after a cocktail. She's not particularly tall. I'm not really sure how tall she is. 5'7", 5'8", 5'6". I don't know. Something like that. Would you like to listen to a song? What song? It's not out of the question. Bam! Darn those Atlanta Braves. The A's have a 5-run lead, but now they've got, in the bottom of the fifth, the Atlanta Braves have 2 on and only 1 out. Let me go get my coffee. Why do I not like the Braves? Well, because I've been a Dodgers fan. When I was in college, I was a Giants fan. The year that it was like the year before the wild card started, and the Braves won a 1-game playoff against the Giants, who had like their best season ever, but it still wasn't good enough, and the Braves beat them. It was horrible. I hate the Braves. Braves were always instrumental in the downfall of the Dodgers back in the day too. No, just no Braves for me, thank you. They should call them I don't even know. They even get to keep their Indians name. Why do they get to keep their name, but the Cleveland Indians can't be the Cleveland Indians? MC Abdul shouting at the wall. All right. I have to put headphones on. Let me look it up. Twinkling Stars says, I hope your day go well. May your family and you stay safe. Keep eyes on Rafah. What's Rafah? Shouting at the wall, huh? Let's see. Let me put this on headphones. Okay. Now, Well, yeah, I don't like politicized rap. Sarah Jane says, my husband is 62. Thankfully, he has a good job. If not, I don't know how we do. So hard to get by these days. It is so hard to get by these days. I agree. Stuff's super expensive. Hop on Warzone, Eric. I don't know what Warzone is. I just don't want to hear about all this Palestine stuff all the time. It's just depressing, you know? I don't want to hear all this depressing stuff. Everybody want to fight a war or whatever. It's a game, homie. Call of Duty. I don't have that game. I have some games. Castor oil causes explosive diarrhea, huh? Huh. Don't they show them taking that in the cartoons in the olden days? It's like a punishment. Now it's 8-6. Come on, athletics. I said, oh, let's go athletics. I said, let's go athletics. I said, let's go athletics. Explosive diarrhea does detoxify the body. Oh, God. Now it's tied. These goddamn Braves. It's 8-8 now. It's 8-8. Horrible. Those darned Atlanta Braves. I hate them so. I don't think people should take castor oil, though. I mean, I don't necessarily think they should not take it either, but I'm definitely not advising in favor of it because I don't have any opinion about it, knowledge about it, nor experience with it. These are the wonderful feelings of urine that come all streaming out of my penis. Maybe I do need some castor oil, huh? Are we really having a conversation in the studio? Yeah, we are. Okay. We are having a conversation in here. But fortunately for you, you get to look at the wall. It's a lot better than if you were looking this way. Hold on. Hi.
Hi.
I just don't want to show.
You.
Yeah, trying to avoid showing me.
I wanted to come in and shower you with kisses.
Thank you, darling. Can you,
Oh.
if you want to move that out of the way, then you move it over there.
Yeah.
Keeping it pointed the same direction.
Sure. Here, it's facing the...
All right, cool.
I love love you.
I love you too, darling.
I wasn't too much for you sleeping next to you last night, was I?
No, not at all. It was nice.
Okay.
I enjoyed the opportunity to, because normally we can't really do that because of trouble.
Yeah.
I'm pretty tired in general.
Yeah. It's been kind of go, go, go.
Yeah. I guess I could use some castor oil.
What does castor oil do?
Apparently it causes explosive diarrhea.
Oh my god. You want a smooth move? I could use some myself.
Oh, you should make yourself one, but
Yeah.
I'll wiggle this out of here. We have prunes too.
You do have prunes now. I don't know where to put them.
They're in the cabinet up there. I've eaten some of them already.
That's good.
So just hang tight, everybody. I'm trying to squeeze some poops out. Alright, well that'll have to do for now. Not much in the way of poops, but hopefully I'll have encouraged the main act to make its way along. Alright, let's see what's going on here. I'm an avoidant. I'm being very I don't want to do anything right now. I don't want to check my email. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do any chores. I don't want to do the dishes. That's just her after shower. She just got out of the shower. I think that, well, the towel was obviously, I cleaned my hands well. I barely pooped any poop at all. Very, Minimal poop. Hopefully it'll wiggle down, you know. No, I don't want a bidet. I'm not trying to get rid of wild animals. I live in the forest because I want to see animals and stuff, you know. Did you hear from the? Yes, I heard from the vet today. Yeah. Or no, not today. I heard from the vet yesterday, right? Yeah, it was yesterday, I think. Maybe it was today. I don't know. The point, no, I think it was yesterday. The point is, we're boarding him until Monday rather than getting him and then having to take him back to get a stent taken out. We're just having him stay there until Monday. Oh, no, I'm assuming he's fine. He'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. He's a tough kitty. I guess the only real reason the stent is there is to keep the wound spot open so that it drains, all the stuff drains while the antibiotics take effect, and then they take stent out because then it can close because it's not getting infected anymore in there. You know, I guess that's the theory of it. Hopefully, yeah, and hopefully, you know, this means I don't have to administer the medicine, and I don't have to tend to the drain, the pus drain. Ew. I don't want to deal with that. So just let them deal with that. Now the A's are down 9-8. We were up by 5 runs in this game. Come on. Oh. I must say, though, it's much better being an A's fan this year than last year, but it's still painful. It also seems like the schedule's been absolutely brutal to us. We've been playing just good team after good team after good team.
The A's?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have had a tough run.
Sugar-free candy? You think that gives you diarrhea? I got prunes. Aren't they supposed to give you diarrhea? He's not my man crush, okay? And he's not doing very well, unfortunately. But if he can keep it above 200 for a little while longer, that'd be great. I got prunes, I got prunes, I got prunes. Got prunes for teacher. Yeah, I like soccer. I like international soccer. I don't really like MLS very much. MLS sounds like a syndrome or something, a genetic disease. I've got MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Multilingual syndrome. Real Madrid won the Champions League. Did they? Well, good for Real Madrid. I saw that a game between Manchester and Manchester United was on television the other day. Eric, have you and Rachel considered having 2 toilets in one bathroom? That way we could hold hands and poop together. No thanks, Buddy Cat. I don't think we need to be that much. We don't need that much togetherness.
Here's the thing, too. Like, I actually poop by myself. Eric doesn't come with me, but I like to visit him.
Right.
When he goes to the bathroom.
And I don't mind at all having company while I poop, as long as that company is Rachel. But I think she prefers to not be observed.
Oh my gosh, I'm so gushy over you right now. I love you so much.
I love you too, darling. I was an MLS hater till the goal. What that says? My eyes are not very good today. Where's the...
To the goat. Where's your mouse?
Oh, it's way over there. Do I have issues pooping in a public restroom? I mean, ideally, I don't use a public restroom at all.
Eric only uses the public restroom when he absolutely has to.
Yeah. Rachel must be ovulating? I don't think so. Maybe she is, but...
No, I'm close to my period. Like, my period's coming in like today or tomorrow. I feel it.
Well, Putty Cat, I think, appreciates the topic. He must have his own experience linking to pooping. Rat Tang Fun Fogel says, I use the sidewalk before I go to the public bathroom. Fair enough. Sidewalk, maybe try to not go right in the middle of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
McDonald's has the best restrooms out in the world for that purpose. Travie Patty is back. Hi, Travie Patty, and welcome back. The worst is a gas station bathroom. Yeah, that's going to be undesirable. I mean, the very worst is a porta potty. An actual porta potty.
A porta potty is the worst.
Porta potty is the very worst.
But if you gotta go, you gotta go.
I would just generally try to avoid that at all costs. I mostly successfully avoid that. So, I might have to go pee out in the world, but I don't even remember the last time I had to poop out in the world. Yeah, you can go out around here. I'd be more likely to do something like that. Go find a place where I can scamper off into the woods and be out of people's views and poop that way. I mean, I do not enjoy pooping outside. Oh,
yes!
Yeah! That should score 2. That should score 2. Let's go, Ace. Let's go, Athletics.
Yes!
Bam. 10-9 Athletics. Let's go, Athletics. I said, let's go, Athletics. I said, let's go, Athletics. We're going to break that losing streak. Break that losing streak. That's just too gross to even admit. Just remove that because it's so gross. America. Good job, Athletics. 10-9 now. Another bad place to leave a dump is an airplane bathroom. Not ideal.
No, but again, like, you know, if you have to go, you gotta go. I mean, like, Eric's advice is poop when you can. And sometimes you gotta poop on an airplane. I have. I've pooped in a lot of places though. I don't really. If I have to go, I can't let it in. I can't keep it
Pooping in the air be wild.
in.
See, what I'd like to do is go hang gliding and I figured it must not have been me. Sean Willis says, just watch this guy live getting mad and yelling at people because they didn't donate. It's hilarious.
I haven't pooped in the woods, but I pooped in a bush on the side of the road.
Yep.
I was having really like not it wasn't diarrhea, but like it was like very soft poop. Like I couldn't.
All right, enough of this disgusting poop talk. Plague District, hello. Greetings from England. Have I seen those NPC streams on TikTok? No, I don't know. What do they look like? Hi, Barat Cesar. How's it going?
Everyone has like a different explanation for like what an NPC is, and like some NPC stuff like I do. Like they say if you live your life the same way every day, you're an NPC, and I'm like, oh, I pretty much do the same thing every day.
Let's see what is on YouTube for NPC stream. Going to Walmart as an NPC. All right, so let's watch this, and it's muted, so it's fine. So this guy is being like an NPC from a game, you know?
Yeah.
This is your classic. That's a pretty good NPC imitation.
Mm-hmm. His wave is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is an NPC. What is this? You may have seen Pinky Dolls blown up the face of weird trend. What is the NPC live stream? Why are there people doing this? I do it because they're making bank. They do actions. People pay to make them take certain actions or whatever. Weird. Well, I guess now I've heard of it. Now I've heard of these NPC streamers. Can you please not spam your bullshit? It's like a double, triple crime. It's spamming It's additionally defaming me. Do not remember the strip club because I don't go to the strip club. Mr. Muscles. Hey, Grandpa. Hey, Mr. Muscles. Can I do the thug shake? Yeah, this is what NPCs do, right?
Ready?
You got to do the thug shake. You got to do the thug shake. You got to do the thug shake, 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 shake.
Eric is the least NPC person I know. Like, even though you're able to stream for hours, you still are like, I don't know, the least NPC I know.
Thanks, darling.
You're welcome.
Well, Putty Cat, Representative Dean Phillips is correct about that when he says a Trump conviction only helps his campaign. I agree with that. Every time I poop, my cat will stretch up and look in the toilet. That's curious. Hey guys, it's Tom Delore. I wonder what happened to Tom. I don't know. Laura G hopes that we are having a great day. I think we're having a fine enough day.
Yeah, my day just kind of started, but it was good. I needed to sleep.
No, Philip, I cannot. No, I cannot. So the Athletics once again have retaken the lead. We're up 10-9 in this high-scoring affair. And every time you go to Chevron, you feel like I'm the guy working there. But that's not me. I don't work at the Chevron. That is one seriously deprived cat. Or maybe it's just its particular hobby or something. Yeah, let's pull a couple more rips. I'm pretty tired. I'm not going to be streaming forever today here. But we'll probably stream a little while longer. I'm just too deep into the bottle. I need rest, you know.
I'm definitely getting my vaginal sploosh splash party tomorrow. Or today.
Okay. Maybe we'll make the intercourse today.
Okay.
I don't think that's spelled correctly, Doctor Who Woodware. Am I disappointed the Tyson fight is postponed because he has ulcers? Somebody else offered to step in for him. Some other big fighter. It's like, just don't even. Just don't even bother.
No.
They had all that time to put this thing together. Come on now. Any opinions on Scientology? I think it's a horrible cult. That's my opinion about I don't have. I'm not making the case that that is so. It's just my opinion. No, I don't miss making drinks. I enjoy being a host when people are having good times. You know, I enjoy having people over and having fun. But I don't try not to fetishize alcohol too much. I look kind, so kind, says Maddie and Gracie. Well, hopefully I am at least reasonably kind. At least, hopefully I'm not unkind.
You are kind.
Thanks, Rachel.
You're welcome. Did I keep you up last night?
No, you did not.
Okay.
I slept pretty well, all in all. Big buddy, are you a guru? Yes, the type guru. Well, what I'm trying to get at is no, I'm not a guru. Because before you're a guru, you'd need to, number one, have your own shit together. You have to, like, you know, walk around with this enlightened Zen, or whatever all the time. But instead, like earlier, I had this dread that that I could get in trouble at any minute. For what? I don't even know. There's one, and I'm just generally being avoidant of stuff. Like I'm avoiding my email. And I don't think I'm a guru or the guru. I think I'm instead a regular person like everybody else, and most importantly, that I got too many of my own ontological problems to possibly be a guru. By which I mean things like, so why was I afraid I was going to get in trouble? Or from whom? Like, somebody drove by the house at one point. I was sitting here watching cartoons and I was like, oh shit. What's going on? Is like somebody going to come get me in trouble? I wasn't even sure who could possibly be thinking of. Maddie and Gracie, shut up, please. With the so kind. And then I thought a little bit later on, like, I had this vague feeling of, I gotta watch these cartoons because once Rachel gets up, she's gonna get me in trouble.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no reason for these things. It's just, I guess.
What am I? How could I get you in trouble?
I don't know, darling. It's not rational. I wasn't even thinking about getting in trouble for anything except like a general sense of like, you're not doing anything productive. But that's not us, right? That's from some previous relationship.
Yeah.
Either, with, regardless of what kind of relationship it was, some previous relationship, many of them I had that kind of reality where at work, you're always worried you're going to get in trouble because you got a boss,
Mm-hmm.
If the FBI busted my door down right now, they wouldn't need to bust it down. All they need to do is knock. I'd be happy to let them in. Hello, FBI.
Hello, FBI. They probably don't get a greeting like that very often.
Are you here to investigate something?
You'll find very boring stuff.
Please come in and be bored. I think the FBI would be would have the same experience I have when I'm being investigator Eric and looking at Rachel's web history and stuff. It's just all very boring. They can check the toilet. There's nothing really in there. Gleben, globen, globen. Does it bother you when other people drink in your presence? No, it doesn't bother me at all. I like fun times, and lots of kinds of fun times involve alcohol for other people, not for me. So, you know, I kind of appreciate other people drinking because they tend to make parties more fun, and I don't have to have the hangover and so forth. So, you know, I've got that kind of what I would call generalized anxiety that says you're just indulging yourself and not dealing with what you're supposed to or should be dealing with. Well, the thing is, I am dealing with what I'm supposed to and should be dealing with, um, by and large. Alperstein. They don't invite me to that, Buddy Cat. I don't know how you get to be how you get to be invited to that. Why did I mute you? Because you were spamming. You kept repeating yourself over and over again during a time when I wasn't looking at the chat. Now I'm looking at the chat, so perhaps you don't need to repeat yourself so much. And Tom Delore, no, you did not meet me at any strip club. The last time I've been to a strip club, I mean, I remember going to one in Mexico when I was like 18.
Can I just say, like, there was this woman was making commentary on a Sex and the City show, and the Sex and the City show had the two main characters, Carrie and Mr. Big, walking down the street, and the problem was Mr. Big keeps on looking at other girls while he's with, like, Carrie. I'm so grateful that you're not like that.
No, I'm not like that.
The woman who was doing the YouTube was like, that is straight up disrespect. Like, if you're with someone and they're checking other people out, like, that is not acceptable. And I agreed with her. I don't think it's acceptable. And she was saying how, like, a lot of people write it off as just like, oh, that's men, that's what they're wired that way. But, like,
I've never been to Chicago. That's one city that I have never been to. I don't have any cocaine, Sir Reginald Burnquist the third. I just use this spoon to spoon bong rips into my bong.
Yeah.
Okay? So yeah, I think that is very disrespectful, and it's basically showing you don't consider or care about your partner's feelings very much at
Yeah.
all. You know.
Yeah. Imagine if I was like with you in public and I'm like staring at other dudes. Wouldn't you get pissed? Yeah.
For sure. For sure. I mean, there's definitely a thing called jealousy, and people need to respect what a powerful emotion it is, and to be like the ideal for judges to avoid even the appearance of impropriety or anything like that. Iron Lion, the thing is, nobody should be able to police other people's thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay? Nobody should be able to police other people's thoughts.
I don't want to know. Like maybe I'm a scaredy cat because I don't want to know about visualizing other people like while
I don't do that.
while having
cat.
sex. No, I don't either.
No way.
I don't do that at all.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was saying just like, like.
Well, first I was dealing with Iron Lion's question, then I dealt with Putty Cats, you know.
My mistake.
Yeah, the thing is, everybody should respect the autonomy of other people's heads, like their thoughts, because I tend to consider, like, if you were to ask me, well, have you ever thought about mimimia? And maybe it's something horrible. Well, I would, of course, thought about it in the sense that I would have surveyed the total possible things that exist in a mia, right? So, have you ever thought about the death penalty as a solution to parking violations? Well, yeah, I probably thought about it, but it's different than like considering it as a viable option, right? I've thought about it in a overview taxonomy survey kind of way, like cataloging all the different kind of creatures and including the poisonous ones, not refusing to include them in the catalog just because they're bad, right? So it's unreasonable for anybody to expect anybody to say about their thoughts that whether or not they thought something is informative at all. Whether or not they've thought a given thing, whatever it might be, has more to say about their capacity to think about different things than it does about what they think about.
Okay, Pooty Cat, he had a crush on Tootie, but yes, that probably passed. Like, who cares? Like, I had crushes on.
I was like 9 years old.
Yeah,
or something, okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be jealous of that. Like, both Eric and I like showed each other the people that we crushed on when we were young. If you had a crush on a celebrity now, I would be a little bit like, I would be jealous. I would absolutely be jealous.
I don't think about other people at all or doing those things. My thoughts are mostly about regular things in life. I generally will save all of my sex thoughts for sex time.
That's good. Me too.
I don't walk around obsessing about sex all day long. You know what though, DJ? I'm beginning to think that maybe Joe Marsden smells wonderful.
Yeah, maybe.
Who was a lesbian, Tootie?
Doctor Who. I mean, you never know.
Could be.
Maybe. Maybe.
He did an excellent job of playing the penguin.
Yeah, yeah. And he's like, one of my. I like him on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Hmm. Greetings from Russia, friends, says Apuna Adinyagodia. Joe was not the one I had a crush on, no. Why should a les be in? I don't know, or a rat tang from for what. Why should a les be in? Okay, well, the A's are still up by a run, but with nobody out in the bottom of the seventh, the Braves have a man on first. I'm thinking about perhaps wrapping up this stream now. What are your thoughts on that, Rachel?
Sure.
All right. So I'll see you all later. Thank you all for being here. Have a great day. Maybe I'll be back later. Glad to hear it, DJ.